Whatever. Oh, there we go. Hey, we are live. This is a special show from College Baseball Central. It is the Palmetto Brawl preview with Cole Gerard and the anonymous Sinderella from South Carolina Gamecock Twitter. Both these guys are contributors to College Baseball Central. And let's just get started right away with some fun here. We'll start with Cole. Cole, why is this the best rivalry in college baseball?
Yeah, I mean, what better does it get when you hear South Carolina and Clemson playing each other? This is one of the best rivalries in college baseball just because of the history behind the programs. Of course, Carolina's got their two World Series titles that Clemson has yet to secure, but I really feel it this year, and it's just the best time of year outside of college football. And I wish college baseball was advertised a little more and talked about more than it is already. So that's just everybody looks forward to this time of year, and especially the Clemson Carolina baseball series.
Yeah, Sin, what are your thoughts on why is this the best rivalry in college baseball?
Yeah, man. I mean, when you think about college baseball rivalries, there's only a few that you really can talk about, and that is like Ole Miss versus Mississippi State. I mean, you got Florida versus Florida State and all of that, right? But there is only one. Okay, there's only one that gets as absolutely disgusting inside the state. Like we are talking about just personal. Okay, and that is South Carolina versus Clemson. I mean, you have two programs that a lot of people actually do consider to be blue blood programs. Okay, of college baseball, they play every single year. They play one game at home over here in Columbia, one at Clemson, and then another one at a third party site. And I mean, like these guys, they grow up with each other, and they play against each other, and they are friends or they hate the other players across the field. So I mean, like you have two-story programs that not only battle in the regular season, but they have history in the NCAA tournament, and they have history in Omaha as well. So, I mean, you can't get much better than that.
That's a good point. Yeah, and I feel like if you live in South Carolina, you have to have a side. You know, you don't really get to ride the fence either. So, Sin, you talked about it a little bit with personal. Why do you hate Clemson? Why do you hate him so much?
Well, look, man, it comes down to a very, very simple reason. Okay, when I was born, my house was split in half, and it on my dad's half it was all South Carolina. On my mom's, no, yeah, and then on my mom's half it was all Clemson. And my older brother, he is a Clemson Tiger. Okay, and
Ooh.
I mean, as the younger brother, the more good looking one, and the more athletic one, I had to go the other way. Okay, and this doesn't just stop here. He's a Red Sox, and I am a Yankee. Okay, so like this spans to other things as well. But yeah, man, I mean that's mainly one reason. Also look, garnet and black looks way cooler than orange and purple. If I go into a closet and I see nothing but orange and purple, oh buddy, that is an eyesore. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know we got the best uniforms in college baseball.
All right.
Oh, but
Yeah, Cole. So Cole, on the other side, why do you hate South Carolina? I love the little bit of the sibling rivalry there, where Sin is, has to go the other way from his brother. So, what about you, Cole? Why do you hate South Carolina so much? Why do you hate the Cox?
Yeah, so yeah, of course. Where I'm from, you're either a Clemson fan or a South Carolina fan, of course. But kind of like Sin. So all my mom's half of the family is Gamecock fans, and all my dad's side of his family is Clemson fans. So when I was born, my mom before we converted her back in 2011. She converted from South Carolina fan in 2011. I've grown up a Clemson fan all my life, but when I was born, she tried to put a South Carolina jersey on me, and my dad did not like that at all, and he was not having it. So he took it right off of me, put a Clemson jersey on for me, and I've been there ever since. So, I've been around the rivalry all my life. I've been to most of the games of Clemson, South Carolina, and I hate the Cox from when I was born to this day, and will hate them to the day I die.
Oh, man. Sounds like you guys have some interesting family get-togethers, and it looks like Sin's avatar is finally showed up on the black screen.
Yep.
So we got that working. So we've got a great intro. We got a great show going on. We're going to talk pitching matchups, keys to winning the series, impact hitters, and we're going to do a fun little unveiling of a combined team that our two contributors have done. So let's get right into it here. I've got the pitching matchups. They're showing up on screen. There we go. It's Billy Barlow versus Eli Jones, Tristan Smith versus Dylan Eskew, Aiden Knack versus Roman Kimball. We'll start with Sin. What is your first thoughts when you see these pitching matchups?
Well, my first thoughts is that coming into the season, I had a lot of questions about Clemson's pitching staff. And I know that a lot of people were very, very high on them. I know that the bullpen is absolutely fantastic, but it's that starting rotation that I've had a few questions. Okay, and I know that a few of our CBC guys absolutely love them, and there were a lot of questions about South Carolina so far. I mean, just look at the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see that right now, Clemson is struggling a little bit. Okay, and South Carolina, they have gotten off to a fast start. So I think that if we're just talking about pitching matchups, just the starters, that you have to side over with the South Carolina side. But as we always know, in this rivalry, the stats throw them out the door. Nothing even matters until we get onto the field, and we have seen some crazy things happen. So I know that Clemson, they are coming into this one just fired up, and this is going to be a very, very fun series. I do think that Clemson's starting pitching is going to perform a little better than what we see on the screen right now. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, Cole, what are your thoughts? I know Billy Barlow struggled a bit. Obviously, Aiden Knack had a really good bounce-back start last week, but he had a rough start debut. What are your thoughts on the Clemson staff?
I'm kind of surprised now. I know we saw Austin Gordon pitch both of the midweeks so far. Kind of surprised he hasn't slipped into the rotation yet. I know he had to get stretched out a little more than others, but I think the biggest thing for this Clemson staff, especially starting off with Billy Barlow, we know the start he had versus Kennesaw State, rough start, but I think what Billy Barlow is have a clean first inning and just dial into the ball game, and I think he can go. And I think he can go at least 5 or 6 innings if we can get him in that pace. And it takes one time to slip up, and that's just baseball. But Tristan Smith, on the other hand, I think that's a great Saturday guy. He's been fairly good for us. He was actually really good for us in the Saturday matchup last year. I think we were up like 7-3 in the 7th or something like that, and we just kind of sold it away. And then, of course, freshman pitcher Aiden Knack has had a pretty good start so far. Had a little rough first start, dialed in, and then he just dealt this past Sunday. So I'm really excited. I think just get Billy Barlow going, and I think he can cruise through, and then I think it's the rest will be history.
So in the starting matchups here, who do you think has the edge this weekend?
My bias wants to say Clemson, but I mean, this South Carolina staff is just really good, and I'm actually kind of surprised to see Dylan Eskew on the Saturday. I thought they would get Becker in there, but I think this South Carolina staff is really, really good, and especially Roman Kimball. who will pitch the Sunday game in Clemson, a guy that hadn't pitched in, 600 days or something like that.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think the South Carolina staff is really good. And, I mean, I'll give them the edge on the pitching staff, but this Clemson offense is ready to come in fired up.
Sin, you agree with that?
Yeah. And just to give one little note about Matthew, he was working from a minor lat strain. So they went ahead and put Dylan Eskew out there on Saturday, and in his first start, he was absolutely fantastic. And then this past weekend versus Belmont, the first 4 innings untouchable, and then in the 5th and in the 6th, he got hit a round a little bit, but I mean, 8 out of the 10 innings that he has pitched, he has been absolutely fantastic. So just wanted to toss in that little note. But yes, I will give the edge to South Carolina. So
Excellent. All right, so that's our pitching matchup segment. You see it. Those are the 6 guys going head to head. Obviously, the bullpens are going to play a factor. Now we're going to talk about some keys to winning the series. We'll start with you, Cole. What are the Clemson keys to winning the series? Taking at least 2 of 3 here.
I think it all depends on the pitching staff. The offense is there, like I already said, they're fired up and ready to go, but it all depends on how this pitching staff comes into this game. And it all starts with Billy Barlow on Friday. So, like I said, just get Billy Barlow going and get him in his pace that we all know that his abilities can be. We've seen it before. And then again, like Aiden and Tristan on Saturday, Aiden on Sunday. And, you got your relievers, Austin Gordon, Nick Clayton, and Ethan Darden, all 3 pitched on Tuesday, and they will all be available out of the pen this weekend. So I think it all comes down to this pitching staff because, like I said, South Carolina has the edge in their staff, but I think this Clemson team, if they're dialed in, they could really do some damage.
So the pitching staff is the key for you. Sin, how about you? What's the key for South Carolina winning the series?
Yeah, man. So I got 3 different keys to victory. Okay, number 1 is to capitalize on runners in scoring position. So South Carolina has no problem, absolutely no problem with getting on base. I mean, they are leading the country in walks, and it's not even close. And not only that, but as a team, on base percentage is .474. That is absolutely ridiculous. So they are getting on base pretty consistently. The issue has been when we get guys on base, how do we get them in? Because we have scored, I think, like 15 or 16 runs by either walks or hit by pitches. And we have like 84 runs in total. And not only that, but we have seen multiple games where we have left, 18 people on, 13 people on, 14 on, and you can't do that when you are going up against a top 25 team like Clemson. Like, you cannot do that. You have to capitalize when you get guys not only on base, but also in scoring position. The second thing is to continue to have dominance on the mound. I mean, South Carolina, everybody had their questions about their pitching staff. Obviously, they haven't played the highest of a competition, and we're really not going to know who these guys are until SEC play comes around. But so far, they have done exactly what they needed to do, and they have dominated, and they need to continue that. And then the last thing is to just limit free bases, because we know that Clemson, they have a very high powered offense, and we cannot be giving away free bases. And this kind of goes in line with the with the continue the pitching dominance. Like, you can't give up free bases, because this Clemson team, they will drive them in very, very quickly.
Yeah, same thing with Clemson. If I could add on to my keys to winning, I think Clemson might lead the country in probably having the bases loaded and not scoring them.
Yep.
I know. Last Sunday, I think Nolan Naraki, all three of his at bats, he had the bases loaded.
Yep.
And I think we just straying too many runners. So I think that has to change this weekend, especially playing South Carolina. You get bases loaded, you score them. So that's my keys.
This is going to be a really exciting, hard-fought series. I mean, even if it wasn't a rivalry series, it's two top 15 teams going head-to-head, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Moving along, Sin, give me 3 impact hitters for South Carolina this weekend.
All right, 3 impact hitters. Number 1 is the All-American, a guy that people are projecting as a top 10 pick, Ethan Petrie. He is going to need to continue to do what he has done throughout his entire career, and that is to be one of the best players in college baseball. Okay, number 2, I am looking at Gavin Gossett. He's had a slow start, but he's starting to pick it up. He has been batting in the 8th position so far this season, when last year he was at number 5 all year long, but he's starting to pick it up. I think that if we can get him going, that is going to be absolutely huge, because he is a RBI machine when he gets going. And then the last guy is going to be Dylan Brewer. Okay. And I know that Clemson fans are kicking and screaming. Okay. Because not only, 100%, because not only is Dylan Brewer a former Clemson Tiger, but he's been one of the best players in the country. Okay. He has not had a single strikeout in 27 at-bats. He's 14 of 27, 5.19 average. And he has a 622 on base percentage. I mean, this guy has been lights out, and I think that we might see Dylan Brewer come into this series a little extra juiced, and he could continue this high level play.
Absolutely. As I'm watching our producer with a couple of typos, as expected.
As always.
But yeah, no, those are great choices. I was really looking for a couple of underrated picks there, and I really appreciate that, although you did leave out my thick king.
Yep.
But we'll move along to Cole before we get to relievers. Cole, give me some 3 impact hitters for Clemson. I know you've got a number to choose from. They've been kind of getting guys in and out of the lineup. So what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I'm gonna start off with Cam Sinderella, All-American freshman, ACC Freshman of the Year, guy who just started off right where he left off from last year. Guy's just been killing it from his freshman year. And then I'm gonna go Will Taylor. Will Taylor started off in a really, really bad slump. And he was at first he could not hit the ball at all. His first at bat of the year got a hit, and then went on like a 0-22 or something streak. But last Sunday, he hit the ball hard every at bat. That was just the wind was blowing hard in, and a couple of his balls would have went out. And then Tuesday, he just came out just smoking the ball, and 3 for 3 with 3 homers and a walk. And then next, I'm gonna go Blake Wright for a guy who easily probably could have played 3 years here. He could have probably got a free agent deal last year, but just wanted to come back and finish what he started. All those 3 guys are biggest impact player, not the biggest impact players, but 3 of your biggest hitters on your offense. So that's my 3, and I expect big things from those guys this season, especially from Will Taylor and Blake Wright, who are most likely playing their final season here, and of course Cam Sinderella in his sophomore campaign.
All right, so those are the usual suspects for Clemson. Those are the 3 guys you're probably circling every week. What's an X factor arm coming out of the bullpen that can come in and make a difference in this series?
Me or Sin first?
Oh, you go ahead, Cole. Sorry.
Yeah, you just want me to name a couple relievers. First off the bat, I'm thinking of Matthew Marshall, a transfer from Wofford. Played a couple years at Furman, and then I think he played his first year at Furman. Then he got cut, so he played at Wofford. Another guy is Lucas Malstedt, coming from Wofford as well. I think he won their pitcher of the year or had the lowest ERA or something in the SoCon. You got Rob Hughes, Nick Clayton, and again this weekend, they're mostly starters, but you're going to have Ethan Darden, Austin Gordon, and hopefully we can get Reed Garris back. So those are my relievers right there who I think are going to make an impact.
Awesome. Sin, X factors out of the bullpen. Who we got?
All right, man. So we got Chris Veach, obviously. I mean, he was one of the best relievers in the entire country last year as a transfer from Presbyterian. I mean, he came in and he wasn't supposed to be as good as he was, and he came in and just absolutely shut people down. Like, he is that guy. He is the pitcher that the pitching staff trusts the most when we have a difficult spot that we have to get out of. They call on Chris Veach. Another guy was a starting pitcher at College of Charleston last year. I think he was their conference pitcher of the year, and that is Ty Good, and he has been nothing short of absolutely fantastic so far in this early season. So we can look at him to be an absolute stud coming out. And then the guy with the most appearances is Tyler Dean. And he is a guy who is a transfer from Virginia Tech. And he can hit as high as 97, 98, 99. And that's what he did kind of at Virginia Tech. But under the tutelage of Matt Williams, the pitching coach here at South Carolina, they want him to not throw as hard, but to be more in control, because when he was at Virginia Tech, he had control issues. He was walking people left and right. Here, so far in the early season, he is pounding the strike zone, and he has been absolutely fantastic. So those three relievers, those are the three guys that I'm really looking at to make a big impact coming out of the bullpen. So,
where's my man Garrett Gainey, man?
Oh, I had Garrett Gainey on my mind. I was just going to limit it to just three, but Garrett Gainey, a transfer out of Liberty. Look, if you want to watch an absolute psycho path, okay, watch Garrett Gainey. Not only has he impressed the pitching staff, and he's been way better than everyone was expecting, because he had a inflated ERA because they didn't use him the right way, and that was just based on their personnel. All right, but after the first strikeout of his career here at South Carolina, okay, after the first one, this man screams at Cole Messina, okay, I mean bloody screams, and just says, "Give me the," I cannot say the next word, ball. I mean, like, in his face. I mean, this guy's a psychopath, okay? Not only that, but he's a fantastic pitcher out of the bullpen. So, yes, absolutely, he is going to be a stud.
Yeah, I'm really excited. The pitching's interesting, and just to be clear, Dean wasn't the only one that was struggling with control at Virginia Tech. They're well known to have some pitching issues, so it's good to see. It's good to see him doing a little bit better at a different program. So, moving right along, there's a tweet that I wanted to talk about here that Sin posted a couple weeks ago. College Baseball Central said, other than the head coach of your favorite team, which coach would you have trouble saying no to in a recruiting battle? And Sin let us know it was Eric Bakich. That's his guy. Tell me what you love about Bakich.
Look, man, when we were in a coaching search a couple of years ago, when we ended up hiring Mark Kingston, he was one of the guys on the list, and he was the guy that I wanted so bad, okay, because not only is he a great person, but he's a great coach. He knows how to build the right culture. He has a fantastic eye for talent, and he puts the right guys around him. And you don't do this, okay? You are not a premier, big time college baseball coach, and somehow, some way, get Michigan to the College World Series. Okay, they were one game away from being national champs, and Eric Bakich did that. I mean, Michigan hasn't done anything. Okay, before he got there, their last NCAA tournament appearance was 2008, and he got there in 2013, and he got them to the NCAA tournament in 2015, 2017, 2019, 2021, and the past 2022. And I mean, he's just an absolute stud. Okay, I have been secretly, okay, no one knows this, I have been secretly watching a lot of his press conferences since he was back there at Michigan for the past 2-3 years, and I mean, even when he has came over to Clemson, I have been watching him because I love this guy 100%. I hate that he is at Clemson. It burns my soul because I love him so much. That was my guy. We ended up going with Mark Kingston, and everything right now is great. Okay, I'm not sad that we have the guy that we have. I am very, very happy because he did have some questionable hires and some questionable philosophies, but he has changed all of that, and South Carolina is looking like they are going to be a very, very good program going forward under him. But yeah, man, I mean, Eric, man, just he is the whole package. I mean, just absolutely love him.
Yeah, Cole, do you want to gloat a little bit that he's yours?
Do I know?
Do you want to gloat a little bit knowing that Eric Bakich is yours?
Home run hire. If I really wasn't expecting to hire Eric Bakich. I didn't really know much about him. I mean, of course, I know him at Michigan and what he did in the finals and what else. But I was really wanting Kevin O'Sullivan from Florida. And I know a good bit about Kevin O'Sullivan. No, I wasn't probably going to get him, of course, because he's at A+ Florida program. But Eric Bakich was hired. Didn't know much about him, but just home run hire, and to be around him doing media and press conferences like that. Just like Sin said, he's a really great guy and a great person outside of baseball, and I think he's going to lead this Clemson team to great stuff.
Yep. Awesome. Fantastic. Now we're getting to the fun part. I asked both these guys to come up with combined teams, combined 11 players. Yep. So it's the 9 batters and 1 starting pitcher and 1 relief pitcher to see what we've got here. Here is Sinderella's up on the screen there, and he picked all South Carolina guys.
Woo!
No, I'm just kidding. This is his real one.
I was like,
this is his real one. Yeah, no. So he does have 4 Clemson players in there. So we got Cole Messina, my thick king. He's at catcher.
Yep.
Jacob Hinderleiter at first base. Blake Wright at second. Quafo at short. Talmadge LaCroix at third. Tyler Causey is the DH, and then Kennedy Jones in left, Cam Canarella in center, and Ethan Petrie in right. Eli Jones, the Friday night ace, on the mound for his team, and then Ty Good, the relief pitcher. Sin, you want to walk us through any of these choices? Any of them particularly difficult?
Yeah, absolutely. So the left field, that one I had Will Taylor for a very, very long time until we said that we were just talking about this season. Okay. And I was like, okay, cool. So that makes it a little easier. Now, Will, I think that he is going to go on and have a great season. I know that he's gotten off to a slow start, but I see him having an all ACC type of season when it is all said and done. But Kennedy Jones, I know he's only started 2 games, but this guy is the real deal. Okay. Even if we are talking about overall, I mean, overall, he what at UNC he was their best player there. He had in his past 2 seasons, he averaged something like a batting average of like 350 with 11 home runs and then 14 home runs. So if we are talking about overall or this season, Kennedy Jones, I do have him over Will Taylor. And I mean, that one is kind of controversial because Blake Jackson has been the starter at left field for most of the season, but Kennedy, he has started there the past 2 games, and he's been absolutely fantastic. Another one that I kind of went back and forth with was Blake Wright. And that was because I was like, okay, do I do the right thing, or do I do what I think is just a spell of unfortunate events? And what I mean by that is that Blake Wright right now is the better player, and I'm not going to lie. I think that he is overall the better player. And Parker Nolan, if you look at his stats, kind of like Will Taylor, they've kind of gotten off to a slow start, but they are just barreling. I mean, just destroying the baseball. I mean, every single game, if you look at South Carolina's exit velocities, Parker Nolan is up there 2 or 3 times out of the top 10. So I know that he has a lot of power, and he's absolutely destroying it. They're just going right at opponents. So I think those 2 were like the most kind of a battle. Cam and Dylan, I thought about mainly to troll, but also kind of not, because Dylan Brewer, we already went over some of his stats, and he's doing amazing. So, but I did go with Cam. I mean, it's Cam Canarella. How I don't think there's a better center fielder in college baseball better than he is. So
you didn't have any problem with Hinderleiter over Casas at first?
No. And that is because Gavin has had that slow start. He is starting to pick it up, but Hinderleiter, he's just been the better player so far. So
all right. Well, before I let Cole pick over yours, we're going to reveal Cole's before we go to a comparison screen for all your guys, so that you guys can pick each other's apart and see who did better. This is Cole's combined South Carolina Clemson team. He has 6 South Carolina and 5 Clemson. He, of course, went with Will Taylor in left field. He went with Jimmy Obertop over Hinderleiter or Casas at first base. He put Dylan Brewer at the DH spot. But it's it's pretty close to a lot of what Sin had. Cole, where were your toughest choices picking this team?
Yeah, if you want me to be completely honest, Sin put Hinderleiter at first, but Hinderleiter's a true middle infielder, kind of shortstop or third, but he'll play third base a good bit. My bias wants to put Hinderleiter at third over Talmadge, but I know if I did that, it would just be a little biased at that time. But, of course, I think Will Taylor's a no-brainer in left field. Cam Canarella, obviously, a no-brainer. And, of course, Ethan Petrie, no-brainer. I really like Jimmy Obertop at the first base position because, of course, when Jacob Jarrell is back from his face injury, that's going to be mostly the everyday thing with Obertop at first base. I think Blake Wright was a little no-brainer. Of course, Chufo. And then, Dylan Brewer, I had to have him somewhere in the lineup. I couldn't place him anywhere in the field, so I threw him in there at the DH. Cole Messina, obviously, we know what Cole Messina can do behind the plate and with the bat in his hand, of course. We all know what happened last year. But and then, of course, Eli Jones and Chris Veach, that South Carolina pitching staff is just unreal. And I would just be dumb to leave them two out. So that's my 9.
So one of our commenters wants to defend you, or wants you to defend your choice of the All-American Ethan Petrie over Alden Mathis in right field. Do you want to defend that choice?
Do we know who commented that?
Tyler Paget.
I mean, of course, I love Alden Mathis out there in right field and playing baseball for Clemson, and the start he has had is just unreal. His first at bat as a Tiger, he hit a grand slam. And he's helped us out there in the center field spot with Cam Canarella being the DH. But it's Ethan Petrie at the end of the day. I mean, All-American. Him and Cam Canarella are probably going to be either like back-to-back picks or something like that in 2025 draft.
Yeah.
So I'd probably get. Of course, Alden plays for Clemson. I'd love to say, hey, yeah, you're in right field over Ethan Petrie. Go ahead. But at the end of the day, we're trying to make a legit 11 at this point. So you gotta put. I'm sorry, Noah. Cole admitting South Carolina over Clemson is wild. I understand it. I understand, but.
Yep.
But, I mean, it's Ethan Petrie, and I'm sure Sin could say the same thing if y'all wanted to put Dylan Brewer over Cam Canarella. But,
yeah,
I mean, Dylan Brewer is a great player himself coming out of his great start he's had so far, and I hope he keeps going, especially knowing Dylan Brewer. And, of course, he played at South Carolina. But, yeah, I love Alden. He's going to be really good for us, but you got to put the All-American out there.
Yeah, now, going through this, okay, I try to do like where they were, like what position they played. So if I could, actually, no, I'm gonna leave Tyler Gauzy as my DH because I have a obsession with him. I think that he's just unbelievable. Also, trying to figure out like what player plays what position for Clemson is near impossible. Okay, because if you go through their lineups, 4 different players are playing 5 different positions throughout the entire season, and I have no idea where anyone is. Like, it is unbelievable. I'm so confused on who is playing where and all of that. So I did the best that I could with where they kind of were with like the more recent games.
Yeah. I know Hinderleiter had played first the other day, where I think when he hit the 2 home runs against Kennesaw State.
Yeah.
I know he normally does play other positions typically, but yeah, I didn't have any problem with you putting it at first base. I had no problem with you guys putting guys in positions if they played there. I know one of the questions was, Cam Canarella at DH or center field. I did either one because he played both. So, and honestly, you could have put anybody at DH if you wanted to. So the surprising thing for me, I thought thought Cole having less Clemson guys than South Carolina guys was stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? Were you surprised to see that Cole had more South Carolina guys?
Oh yeah, 100%.
But if you want to be honest, it would have been 6-5. It would have been backwards, but I did have Jacob Hinderleiter in that third base spot, and I was like, okay, I can't be too biased. I want to have a little debate going on, so I threw Talmadge in there at third.
I was pushing. I said, go ahead and be a little biased. Let's have some fun here.
Yeah. I mean, Talmadge is a great player, though. So
yeah. Well, I understand that you've got family now to answer to if you're too biased one side or the other. So especially since you told me you're at home for this weekend, you got to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do. Otherwise, you might get in trouble in that divided household.
Oh well, it's not a divided household anymore. My mom and dad, or my dad's been a Clemson fan all his life, but we converted my mom a long time ago.
Okay.
The house is straight Clemson. So my mom's not a bandwagon. She was here during the bad times. So she's been on the Clemson train for a long time now. So that's good.
All right. So the big controversial thing for you, Cole, about Sins would probably be Will Taylor over or him having Kennedy Jones over Will Taylor, right?
At the end of the day, Kennedy Jones is an outstanding baseball player, of course, and made his first start. What was it? Was it just Tuesday or was it Sunday? Was it Sunday, Sin?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, he made his first start out there for South Carolina. But, I mean, we're talking about Will Taylor, a guy who easily probably could have went out of high school or could have went out of high school, but, of course, wanted to play football. And Will Taylor's his first year not playing football, of course, so he got a full fall, winter, and he's going to have a spring of baseball. So I think it's a no-brainer in my head. You're going Will Taylor, especially a veteran guy out there in the field for Clemson now. But I think Kennedy Jones is an outstanding player, and I think he has made his way into the starting lineup for South Carolina, and I think I'll remain to see Kennedy Jones out there for them.
And you didn't feel good about putting any of your relievers over Chris Veach?
Like I said, the South Carolina staff is really, really good, and that's going to be the test this weekend. I know our offense is going to come out swinging, but I mean this South Carolina staff isn't somebody just to blow over and breeze them out the way. This Clemson staff is good, and we'll show up this weekend. But in my legit 11 right now to this day, I would go. Chris Veach, Eli Jones, those are just two very, very good pitchers. And, of course, I'd like to throw in, Trista Smith, Dawson Gordon in there, or like a Nick Clayton, Matt Marshall, Rob Hughes type of deal. But, I'm trying to keep a fun little debate and, be honest with myself because, of course, I'm a Clemson fan and, I'm going to choose Clemson over anybody. But, if I had to submit this ballot right now, you can't leave Eli Jones or Chris Veach out of it.
Do you, in your top 25, do you have Clemson ahead of South Carolina?
So I do. I don't agree with D1 having South Carolina so high at what are they in D1's polls right now? I forgot.
I think 19 or something. I don't know. I try to pay attention to only our polls.
Yeah, of course. Oh yeah, but
it is the best.
Yeah,
yeah. Because we've got South Carolina at 11 and Clemson at 15.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So. Of course, Clemson and South Carolina both suffered some butt cuttings one games this past weekend. Of course, Clemson's was 18-1. I understand. We did take our starters out in the fifth, so I'll kind of use that as my plead. I'm just kidding, but I do have Clemson I got them at 11, and I think Carolina's right at 10. So I actually will give them the edge, put them right above us. 10 and 11, but I think these two programs, you can't look at Clemson and, they're in the top 10, and you see South Carolina at one of the main polls and all that's used at 25 to start the season. I thought that was just a little ignorant in my opinion. But I think these teams are easily both top 15.
Oh man, Cole really surprising me with his.
I hate South Carolina, but I just want to be honest.
I don't want you to be honest. I want you to be a little hateful.
Okay, yeah, no. Put South Carolina 45th. We'll have Have Stetson and all those teams ahead of them. Just throw them in there.
Yep. There we go. Look,
Yep.
if
All
we
right,
have
so we're gonna.
if we have learned anything, it is that we are going to have Stetson and St. John's over Florida in our next polls. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, based on some logic with a particular fan base. Anyway, moving on to the wrap up of the show. Predictions. I mean, do you guys want to make a silly bet on the game? Whoever wins the series has to make a certain tweet or something like that. You guys want to make a fun bet?
Hey, man, I have been thinking about this, okay? And it's not anything crazy. But I think whoever loses the series, the other one has to tweet something out. So if South Carolina loses, I have to tweet out that Sinderella is the best player in South Carolina, and he's better than Ethan Petrie. And then if Clemson loses, you have to do the exact same thing, but with Ethan Petrie.
Oh, we gotta agree on that, man. I don't know about all that. I think I think we get to know I think if Clemson wins, we get to know who Sin really is.
Not happening, buddy.
I like what Sin brought up. I like that. Yeah. I think. I mean, are you afraid, Cole, to have to admit Ethan Petrie is better?
That just doesn't run in my blood, man. My blood runs orange and purple.
So, but you don't feel confident that orange and purple is going to back you up on the field this weekend?
He is not confident.
I would never tweet out so and so is better. I mean, we can exchange maybe Venmos or something like that. But, yeah, never will tweet out anybody on South Carolina's better.
Oh man.
Oh,
I thought that was pretty low stakes, but apparently,
I mean, like, come on, man. That's crazy.
Oh.
Hey, look, man, this just tells me that he is not confident. Okay. He is not confident at all.
I'm fired up.
It's okay.
This team's fired up.
It's okay, buddy. Look, you don't believe in your guys. I get it.
I don't think you believe in your guys, Sin. You came up with the bet.
I do. Look, I am the one that came to you. I am ready to go right now, 100%.
Noah said loser has to do a face reveal. My face is right here.
It's like, what? Okay.
All right. Well, we'll work out this bet before first pitch tomorrow. But yeah, Sid, you have an alternative?
Yes. Okay. Loser has to be Jake's personal assistant for a whole week. Okay. I mean, there is nothing that I would despise more than having to interact with Jake
for a week
and for him to tell me what to do.
And by the way, Jake just typed that out as the banner. Jake is actually producing the show, hence some of the typos you guys have seen in the banners.
Yep.
So, so Jake's hearing all this live.
Oh my God, he's the worst.
So Cole, what do you think of that? Loser has to be Jake's personal assistant for a whole week.
Sam, if you're with it, I'm with it, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think the Tiger team's ready, and I think we're going to come into Founders tomorrow fired up. And, despite last year, Clemson has no problem going into Founders winning. That's how I like to say it. South Carolina has not beaten Clemson at Doug Kingsmore since 19, I think, or 18.
I don't know. It's been a long time, buddy. It's been a real long time.
The Clemson's fired up, and this offense is ready, and this pitching staff's gonna help us out a little, or not a little bit, a lot. I'm very excited for this series. Like we said, the best series in college baseball, especially with the rivals. So I'm ready.
Yeah, it's gonna be fantastic. We got the bet down. I'm assuming we'll do predictions. Although I'd like to think this is a bit of a formality. I have a feeling I know which way you guys are going. Sin, what's your prediction for this series?
I am going to predict not only the record, but when they will win. Okay. I think that South Carolina wins at Founders if they even play. I have Clemson winning at Segra Park, also in Columbia. And then we go into a game 3 showdown. And I am going to have South Carolina finally getting a win on Clemson's home turf for a 2-1 victory.
Hopefully we get to play all 3 games and it doesn't end up with a 1-1 split, because I really want somebody to be Jake's personal assistant.
Yeah.
Cole, what do we got? What's your predictions for the series?
Yeah, so I'm gonna say Clemson takes this one 2-1. Of course, I hope we play tomorrow's game. I do have Clemson winning tomorrow night in Founders. I think Saturday's game will be close, and I think it'll end up on how Clemson's bullpen finishes the game. But I have South Carolina taking that game for the neutral site in Columbia. And then I have Clemson taking the series finale on their home field at Doug Kingsmore, taking the series 2-1.
Awesome. All right. Well, the stakes have never been higher. Somebody has to be at Jake's beck and call next week. Hopefully that should be content in and of itself. This has been a great show. Thank you guys for coming on. Both these guys produce content for us at College Baseball Central. Obviously, Sinderella is your guy for South Carolina baseball. Cole is our guy for Clemson baseball. You guys got any closing thoughts before we finish up?
Go Tigers.
Dylan Brewer gets his first home run in Clemson's stadium.
Ooh, love it. Love it.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks.
I'd like to see that at Founders before I would DKS.
Yeah. All right, everybody. The best rivalry in college baseball is coming this weekend, and we've got the weekend rotation coming up Saturday morning, our game day show that'll be touching on Clemson, South Carolina, because that's one of the big series this weekend, along with other big series. So keep tuned in for that, and we will see you another time. Thanks.